Okay, everybody, strap on your seatbelts because tonight we're talking endurance for the Champs vs. Pros, episode 5. It's a bumpy ride.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down,
but I get up again. All right, everybody, hello, and thank you so much for joining me. I would say us, but at the moment it's just me. As you can see, Paulina and Jenna are not here. They have other things that they had to attend to tonight, but shout out to them. And we will be joined by Tia soon to talk about all things episode 5, which was crazy. So we will just jump right into it and loop Tia in when she joins us. So much to get into. We started off this episode with some interesting, they were demoing a ski gear thing that was really cool. The fun thing was that they were showing how great Gus was on it. He was really shredding, and Louis broke a record. So kudos to them. That was pretty awesome. And then we got into the challenge pretty much right away. And tonight's theme was endurance. So every one of the challenges thus far, they've had all different things like strength or ingenuity. And tonight, the theme of the challenge was endurance. And this was super interesting because the challenge was over the line, which was essentially a glorified tug of war. There were 3 teammates on each side, and they had to cross their balls over to the other side. So it was basically a strength and endurance competition. So, okay, great. I hear that we are about to be joined by Tia. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi. Thank you, and sorry about our technical difficulties here.
No worries.
We're very glad to have you with us. So, did you just finish watching the episode?
I did. It was pretty exciting.
It was very exciting. Well, first, we'll introduce you. And just so I'm Pam Gross, so thank you for joining us for the challenge talk. And you are live right now. We just patched it right on in. So everyone can hear you. If you want to say hello and tell them where they can find you, your socials, whatever you want to promote and have people check out.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks for having me. My name is Tia Blanco. I'm a professional surfer, and you could find me via social media at Tia Blanco. I'm on Facebook, too, at Tia Blanco, and I also have a YouTube channel.
Okay. Tell us where to find you on your YouTube channel.
I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure
if we just look you up,
Tia Blanco, you can find my channel.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll actually, once we get it, we'll plug it in the episode link, so we can find that for you. And I can brag on you since you don't want to probably say and I'm a champion, a world champion. But as we know, and all the people watching our show are fans of the challenge, so we know a little bit about you. You are a pro surfer. You won the ISA gold medal in 2015, then defended that title again in 2016, and you're training now. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. I did win back-to-back gold medals at the ISA, and I would say those 2 contests were the biggest contest of my life, and I was super happy to take away with the win.
Well, congratulations. And you also were great on the challenge. Let's go back to the episode before tonight's, episode 4, where you were actually eliminated, and talk a little about that. So we know from the setup that Lindsay had voted Lolo in.
Yeah.
And then Lolo picked you.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I was obviously pretty intimidating. I was obviously pretty intimidated going against Lolo, but looking back at it, I'm a little disappointed in myself. I wish I just wouldn't have given up, really. The state of mind I was at during the show, I had a contest coming up, and I I saw the two Ashleys battling out before me, and so I didn't want to put myself in that position to get injured before my big contest. So I kind of played it safe, but obviously on national television, me kind of not giving it my all, and the viewers didn't get to see that. In my interviews, I added in, I have a contest next week, and I actually was leaving to that contest the day after. So it was pretty crucial that I was healthy for that contest, and they just portrayed it a little differently online.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't think that you should feel bad at all about it. It's the kind of competition where we, challenge viewers. Had you watched The Challenge or any of those MTV competition shows prior to appearing on it?
No, I haven't at all. I literally had watched zero. I had a pretty busy schedule prior to The Challenge, so I couldn't really update myself at all, but I was stoked that it was for charity, and I was happy to give it a go.
And do you want to remind everyone what your charity was that you were playing for?
Yeah, my charity was St. Jude. Obviously, children are the most innocent souls on this earth, so it's just unfortunate that some of those children don't get to live a full and happy life, so I wanted to fight for them.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. And even so you do still take home some money for your charity when you are dismissed, are eliminated from the show, right? You're still taking home $1,000?
I did. Fortunately, I got to bring home $1,000.
Okay, so that's great. And also, the people, like our viewers of this show that are watching, we know that competition, it's funny because as not a regular viewer, you wouldn't know that sometimes that is one where height kind of matters too. So it seemed to me, I don't know if everyone agrees, let us know what you think. I'm sure some people will agree and some won't, but that, choosing your battles and that wasn't necessarily a bad choice. Of course, you always want to give it your all, but talk a little bit about that. Did you feel, in addition to being concerned about being wounded, did you just feel like, I don't want to get physically assaulted to do that? What was your reasoning in that?
Well, going into it, my full intention was not getting injured, but being the competitor that I am, I didn't want to go out without a fight, so I did give it my all. But then on our first collision, I felt her power, and I was like, no, it's just not worth it. So
right.
So I just kind of got over it, and the next day I was off on a flight to Barbados to my next contest.
So your life's work versus being injured in a challenge. Yeah. All right. Well, I understand the choice you made. That makes sense. So going into tonight's episode, the challenge was this sort of what I'm calling, it was called Over the Line, but it was like a kind of a tug of war, essentially. Yeah. And things were a little different tonight because we had two team captains. So tonight was a male and female were both eliminated. So there were two captains. That was sort of the twist. And we saw tonight that Wes and CT both were saying, I'll be captain, I'll be captain. And also Camilla and Cara Maria were both saying they wanted to be captain. So it seemed to me like the champs thought that this was going to be potentially one they could win, which the pros have pretty much been dominating. How did you feel when you were competing on the show? Did you ever feel like there was, it seemed to me that the pros were pretty much hands down going to beat the champs in most of the competition. How do you feel about that? Did you always feel like it was touch and go, or did you guys feel pretty confident?
Well, I think that our first challenge, we were super confident, and the team camaraderie was very high. And then once the first elimination kind of got brought up, that kind of separated a lot of the people on our team. And then the next challenge, obviously we lost and we got humbled a little bit. So I don't think we underestimated the champs at all. And it didn't seem like they were intimidated. They always gave it their full, and they had a lot of heart.
They did. They're good competitors, and it's amazing. But seeing the pros, you guys was, a next level of seeing people compete. And an arena like this. However, they do have the advantage to some extent, which we saw tonight. So once they got into it, we'll just jump into the competition. So it does wind up that they agree that CT and Cara Maria are going to be the captains for the champs, and Louie and Lolo are going to be captains for the pros. So we have to, well, I have you, Tia, talk about tonight. So Lolo has been ruffling everyone's feathers, since the get-go. Tonight, it sort of seemed like things mellowed out, like she was getting along with the rest of the team a little better. Did you see that?
Yes, I did, and it was so heartwarming to see that. Lolo is an intense competitor, but she also has a big heart, and every single person on my team, they were all such good people. So I was really happy that everyone started to get along, and that our team camaraderie was still high, even though I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was happy to see my team getting along and fighting hard with each other.
Yeah, it was nice to see everybody getting along, and it seemed like, and tonight I really liked Lolo, and I saw her good side. It was, and again, we understand that it's a lot of TV editing, and they have to make conflict and all that stuff, but it really did seem like she was oftentimes aggressive where it wasn't really called for. I don't think she seemed like a bad person ever, but it did seem like, yo, relax. And tonight she just seemed to kind of mellow out a little bit, to sort of chill out, which was good.
Yeah, for sure. Going into this whole reality TV show, I thought that all the drama was scripted and everything, but now actually being on the show, I could definitely attest to it not being scripted.
Yeah.
We all created the drama for ourselves, so it definitely wasn't scripted, and it was definitely real.
Yeah, I mean, when you're put in a situation where you're literally living with and competing with or being with for a long amount of time, as well as competing with people, it's hard to not have. You have to take it on the field and then hang out and then bring it back.
Right,
it seems
yeah.
like there's no way to not have, innate drama, which is the beauty for a viewer like me. It's sort of set up to be
Right.
super entertaining.
Yeah, I was telling my friends after the show, like, whenever I wasn't involved and I was just watching, like, the other team, it was so entertaining. Like, I felt like I could just take a seat and get some popcorn and just be entertained, and it was a pretty entertaining show. Even though I'm off the show right now, I'm definitely gonna watch it to the very end because it's exciting. Everyone's really competitive, and the drama is entertaining.
The drama's entertaining. This show particularly, it's real fast moving too. Like there's never a dull moment because you're going from competition to elimination. Next week's the finale. I don't even know how they're gonna have it be the finale next week, but this is a short run.
Wow. Yeah,
next week's the end. So I don't even know how they're gonna wrap it up, but we can wait and get into that for predictions. So this was a great challenge. We talked to you and I just about the teamwork on your team. So it was the three girls, which was Cara Maria, Camilla, and Ashley versus Louise, Lindsay, and Lolo. And it was a good, they had an hour to do that, which that is endurance. Like, I can't imagine the strength it takes to do that, but it seemed like the reason why I keep getting like champs are not the pros. The pros are the pros, and the champs are just the winners. I have to work it through in my brain before I say it every time. But it seemed like the reason why the pros were victorious was because they really did come together. They were like, all right, 1, 2, 3, lean this way, go that way. And I thought that the champs actually had a chance in this one because, it was sort of a well-matched competition for them. But ultimately, the pros won. Do you think it was because of their athleticism or because of the teamwork or both or everything? What do you think?
That's hard to say. I mean, when I was on the challenge, it seemed like the champs were working pretty well together, and they definitely were really good cheerleaders on the sidelines. They're super loud and encouraging the whole time. So I don't know if it was the camaraderie that helped the pros out, but Yeah, I guess it just came down to endurance, and I just like to add Cam was a beast.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was so entertaining watching him go for it. The whole time I was calling him the big friendly giant, because on the sidelines, like, he was just so mellow and like super nice. He didn't really talk much, but when he did talk, it was only really kind words coming from him. And he just knew when to turn it on, and when he did turn it on, he just became a beast and totally went into beast mode, so that was cool to see.
That was, on to the guys' competition, that was unbelievable to watch Cam just, CT, you think is so big and strong, and then seeing him just, almost nothing compared to Cam, just taking it.
Right.
Cam is so intense and strong, and it's amazing, but the guys, the champs, won. They wound up pulling it together and winning. So that was incredible too for them, because they came together to win it. So then the tiebreaker then was each team captain had to duel the team captain. So then we had Cara Maria going against, what did we have? So then we had Lolo and Cara Maria had to go in. Is that what had to happen?
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think the girls pulled away with the win at first, and then the guys tied. So then the two team captains had to go in for the tiebreaker.
Which was great, too.
Unfortunately. For the pros, the champs won.
That was wild. I was really surprised, actually, that the pros won. I mean, that was pretty incredible. I thought that I could see CT winning, but I was surprised that the pros overall won. But it's pretty good stuff. This was a good competition for sure. And then, except Wes, as usual, I don't know what your take on him, but Wes saying like the girls didn't teach us anything. That was his comment after the competition. Like, what did you think of? Did you get to know any of the individuals on the pros team? How was that?
Yeah, on the champions team.
Yes, I'm sorry, on the champions team.
Yeah, I mean, I got to know all of the cast pretty well. I don't have anything negative to say about any of the people. I'm
Come
hoping
on,
that
Tia.
they'll do a reunion because, what's that? Sorry?
I said, come on, Tia. Dish it. No, I'm just teasing.
I swear, everyone, everybody was super cool, and I was super thankful that I got to meet everyone and be amongst such amazing athletes as well. What was funny the whole time, like, everybody had the best one-liners, and I never really got to be a part of that because I always think of the best comebacks to say, like, a day later. So they had so many one-liners throughout the whole show that they didn't even show online. I wish you guys could have seen them.
They've had a lot of practice. They've been there like pros at being champions. So that was I was really shocked though by the champs win in this. I really thought it was pretty cool that they won, because they've been getting pretty dominated. So it was nice to see that they really did have endurance and that it came through there. But yeah, I mean, that was a pretty great competition. I also couldn't believe that it was going to be a twofer elimination this time, because they're just weeding them out now, moving forward. So then we go to the elimination, and what happened was, this is more drama, of course. So they made Cara Maria as the champion, or as the winning team captain for the pros. She had to choose who she wanted to send into the elimination, which really did suck for her. I felt bad. She had to choose between Camilla, who's been a lifelong friend of hers, and Ashley, who has gone in a bunch of times. So what did you think of that?
Yeah, I really didn't know who she was going to pick, because the previous elimination, she was pretty baffled how Camilla burned her vote. So she was a little upset about that. Yeah. And obviously she got past that and stuck with her long-term friendship, and that's just the way it went. But it was unfortunate for Ashley, because she was definitely grinding throughout the whole challenge. So to be back in another elimination definitely would have been rough for her.
Yeah, I really did feel for Cara Maria. There's no real easy way to do that, to deliver that, especially when you've gotten that far, to someone who didn't do anything to deserve to go in, but then it's just like you kind of have to, friendship wins out at that point. I do feel bad for Ashley, but I don't know if you saw it. You didn't see last season. She wound up winning the whole thing, which is incredible. But the night before, she got really upset and was like, "I'm going home. I want to go home." So this was reminiscent of that. Like, Ashley has showed up this whole time. I thought, like, she was a real competitor. She's been great. This was shades of the drama, which now I'm thinking she might just need to work through to get into competition mode. But that upset me a little bit because, there was for Cara Maria. Unfortunately, there wasn't any really good choice. And we know from watching these shows, you don't not get thrown in because you've gone in before. It's just not the way it works out. So I didn't like the minor temper tantrum, but she did show up for the competition, which was good. But yeah, that kind of thing, it's like so I felt bad for Cara Maria. And Gus, actually, who I think is great, said it best. He's like, she didn't do anything wrong. It's no one wants to do it. This is just the way it is in the challenge. And I think Ashley should sort of know that by now. It's always going to be a bummer, but, what do you think on that? Like, were you mad when you went to go in?
Yeah, it was a definitely tricky situation for Cara Marie, but, at the end of the day, if I was on the show with my best friend, there's no way I would be putting my best friend in. I don't know if Cara and Camilla are best friends, but they do have history, so it's sad for Ashley. Either way, it's just a hard situation, but
it is.
Yeah, I heard Cara say that she felt like a jerk, and she's obviously not a jerk. It's just she was put into a difficult situation.
Yeah, it is always hard. Like, so then it was CT had to choose who he was going to put in, and he said, like, I really don't know, and then Wes volunteered to go in. So that's nice.
Yeah, that was a little weird to me, because I felt like Wes and CT had each other's backs the whole time, so I thought for sure he was going to put Darrell in, and then Wes just chimed in and voted himself, and I was like, whoa, where did that come from?
I know.
It was so, like, out there. I was like, okay.
That was kind of big of Wes, because usually I would think Wes would be the first person to say, like, never throw yourself on the chopping block, but he did.
Yeah, that's what he said in the beginning to us. He was like, oh, you never do that, and then he did it.
Yeah, and he seemed, unless I'm being played by Wes now, but he seemed like he was really doing it to spare CT having to make that decision.
I thought about that too, CT helped him out so much. He was like, no, I'm not going to put him in this difficult situation, so I'm going to,
Yeah, what do you guys think on the live chat? We'll see. Do you guys think Wes was being noble, or do you think he had some Wes-like ulterior motive? Let us know. We want to hear. But also, ultimately becomes Ash versus Lola, which, again, sucks. She is a beast. You don't want to go against her. And Wes versus Louis, which, again, no one wants to go in, but Louis was just, like, so smiley and adorable. Was he like that all the time? Was he just great?
Yeah, Louis was awesome, for sure.
He seems really smiley and nice and just like, oh, whatever, It's not like pretty laid back. Not too much.
Yeah, he was cool. He was always in a good mood.
Yeah, he seems happy. Seems like a happy guy. And then they have this rope challenge, which, again, we viewers have seen before. And this is a really, really, really tough one. It's hard for numerous reasons. Tonight we had the smaller cage, which I thought for Lola would actually be a disadvantage, because you're having to literally, like, that height would wind up being a disadvantage. It's raining, and then that rope gets so heavy, I'm sure. So it's heavy all around, and we've seen in the past challenges, in this time, CT actually took out Darrell in a similar challenge, and I think Camilla beat Laurel. So this often becomes anybody's game with this particular challenge. So this was a great match to watch, and it's really tough. Ultimately, Wes wound up winning, and Louis took it very, very gracefully and in stride, and Lolo beat Ashley. Were you surprised by these?
Yeah, that looked intense for sure. I was just watching Louis' Instagram story, and he was pretty, I don't know if upset, but he was maybe just annoyed of the situation and annoyed of his one mistake that he made. But I thought he was going to have such a big advantage because he was shorter than his opponent, and he's obviously fast and strong. So, yeah, it was unfortunate for Louis, but knowing Louis, he probably had a big smile on his face still, and yeah, life went on. And then for the girls, that was a pretty tough battle. I really didn't know who was going to win because Ashley looked like she was putting in so much effort, and she obviously has a big heart, but Lolo is a beast, and she's never going to give up either. So it definitely came down to the end, which was fun to see a cool fight.
Yeah, that was a crazy battle. There was that moment where Ashley literally like spider webbed herself up in the rope and like threw the whole thing over to get it over. I thought they were neck and neck the whole time. It was anyone's game. Yeah, it was crazy the way it worked out. It was close, and yeah, and then again, Ashley, when she didn't win, was very upset. And I get it. I get it. Like, after she's gone through a lot, I understand being upset. How would you, you were on the show and you did get eliminated. How would you react had you been in 3 eliminations and volunteered as captain and sort of went out on the second to last episode? Can you relate to how Ashley responded, or do you think, all's fair in sports?
I mean, just on Ashley's defense, like being on the challenge personally, it's a very intense environment, and for me, it felt like I was on a boot camp. Really, I mean, you have cameras in your face 24/7 and microphones on all the time. Like even when you're going to the bathroom, like you never take your microphones off. So it is a lot every single day, watching what you say, watching how you look, and making sure you're saying things that are politically correct, and it's just a lot. So it was probably pretty grueling for her, for sure. I know when I got put into elimination, I did my best to have a good attitude about it and keep a good face for the camera, but once they took that microphone off, I was pretty upset, and I just wanted to go back to my room and just call my parents and my boyfriend and my mom, or my parents, my boyfriend, and my sister, and just vent, pretty much. So it definitely was challenging at times, just being exposed like 24/7.
I can't even imagine. And you mentioned like being conscious of not saying things that weren't politically correct. Is that something that was in your head often, or did you ever have any mistake? You know what I mean? I feel like that would be so hard to not say anything that would offend anyone, anywhere, ever. You are on a national screen. Was that, did you have to learn that the hard way, or did you?
I mean, I didn't want to ruffle anyone's feathers. I didn't want to get into any drama, and I was a little in denial if I was to think that I wasn't going to be in drama because it's a challenge. So, I just said what I felt at times, and hopefully that I didn't offend anyone, and I said, okay, thanks.
Well, you stayed pretty clean. I think we can agree. You stayed pretty much out of, I don't think you said anything. I don't know. No, I don't think you did anything that, would really have upset anyone. You seem like a nice person.
Yeah, no.
I don't think
I didn't really have any beef with anybody on the show, really. So I was happy to remain friends with everyone after the show, too.
That is nice. Have you made relationships with them? Like, will you continue to see your teammates?
Yeah, well, Lindsay, the professional snowboarder, I think you guys talked to her maybe last week.
Yes, we did.
We have the same manager, so we always knew of each other. And now that we were put on the show together, and we obviously have similar interests, even though she's a snowboarder, she loves being in the ocean.
Yeah.
We've already been surfing a couple times together after the show, it's just fun to catch up and kind of be in a more, positive and healthy environment in the ocean rather than just wanting to win and beat everyone.
Yes, I can imagine that surfing with a friend might be a little more peaceful. So then so we see Ashley get really upset, and I get it. I really do feel bad for her, and like that was a bummer after coming so far. I just think that's part of being a champ, and I think it'll be interesting to see her in the next season. And then what we had next was Wes beat Louis, which again, they both seemed very gracious about it. Wes was like, I beat an Olympian, and I was surprised. I couldn't believe Wes beat him. I thought when they were going into that competition that Wes seemed already slightly defeated. He was like, I'm already winded from today. I don't know if I can do this. And Louis seemed like, I'm happy. So I was surprised that Wes pulled out the win. And then at the end, once Ashley came out of the van and decided to, say goodbye, that is when Lolo stepped up and said, I feel really bad for Ashley, and I know she's been a trooper this whole time, and she gave her $5,000 for Ashley's charity, which was very
really?
cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Lolo actually gave her winning of that to Ashley's charity, which is for children of incarcerated. No, that's Lolo's. Ashley's is for addicted people. It's for recovery. So that was really cool, and I was like, oh, Lolo really stepping up this episode. So that was really nice.
Yeah. Lola she's a feisty competitor, and she's intense at times, but that's what makes her who she is, and that's why she's so successful. So I have nothing but respect for Lolo, and being on set with her, I've had some good talks with her.
Yeah.
She taught me how to do some makeup on the sidelines, and we had a couple good laughs. So, Lolo's she's awesome, and she's just a competitor at the end of the day. So. But she's cool.
That's good. And it was nice after seeing how much she was fighting for her charity for her to sort of be gracious and give some winnings to someone that she empathized with. So I thought that was very cool of her, very big of her, and very respectable of her. So I'd love to move into some predictions and get who you think. So now we have remaining so we've got next week is the finale. Who do you think on both the champs and the pros team is going to take it home? Like, who would you say are your top two? The top two strongest people on each team? If you had to guess.
Well, I'm going to go with Lindsay just because I'm pulling for her to win.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go with Cam as well just because he's such a beast. And from this last this last challenge, he really showed that he really wants to win. So, I think those two have a really good chance.
I agree. And then for the champs, who do you think are in it to win it?
Probably CT just because he's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of his past challenges, and he never disappoints, and he has a pretty strong fan base online, so I think that's for good reason. He's definitely proved himself over and over again.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be a strong competitor. And then for the girls, between Cara and Camilla, I really can't say. They're both pretty strong, and either one could take away with the win. Yeah,
we've got some great people left. I don't know how they're even going to do the final elimination, but I am very excited to see. Well, Tia, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I really appreciate it. And if you want to tell everyone again where they can find you and anything else that you want to tell us about that we should look into to check out from you, that would be awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciated your time, and it was really awesome to be on the challenge. So you could find me on social media at Tia Blanco. You could find me on Facebook at Tia Blanco. You could find me on Twitter at Tia_Blanco. And then I also post occasional videos on my YouTube channel of health and fitness stuff. So yeah, check me out.
Awesome. We will definitely check that out. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
guys. You guys have a good night.
Okay, and AfterBuzzers, it's me. So next week we have the finale. Again, next week Paulina will be back with us. And before we go, I just want to do a quick, exciting plug about the Dirty 30. There's been some news that it's coming out for the 30th season of the challenge, the Dirty 30, where they are stepping it up. It's premiering on Tuesday, July 18th. And this time around, it is for $1 million. So we have seen these people go crazy for $350,000, go crazy for $100,000. This is going to be dirty. So it's 15 men and 15 women from the past seasons, all our favorite people. And I just have a few people that I'm excited about big time that I want to mention that are going to be on. And I want to hear who you guys are super stoked to see. So Anissa is going to be there. Pretty exciting. Ashley's back. So I'm excited to see how she fares in this one when it's for $1 million. That's no joke. Camilla, Cara Maria, CT, Corey, Darrell, Derek Kaczynski, who we haven't seen in a really long time. He hasn't been on in a while. He's from Road Rules Extreme, and he hasn't been on for a while. Jamae is going to be on. Jamae. And that is very exciting. Bananas is back. And Veronica, who we saw just for a little bit during this challenge, Champs vs. Pros. So there's a ton of other people. We'll post the list on Twitter of the full list of everyone. And super excited for that. Already getting pumped. Next weekend we have the finale. So join us. We can't wait to hear from you. And again, thanks for being with us. And thank you so much to Tia for joining us. I am Pamela Gross. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Pamela Gross Jill. And check out the Fear Factor show and some other AfterBuzz shows that are also competition-based if you like this one. Thanks again, and we will be with you next week for the finale.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.